Hello, everyone, and welcome back for round 4 of our Modern 20K. I'm joined here by Jim Davis. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal. My name is Nicole Callahan, also known as Lady of the Crease, and I'm ready to get back in some action here. We've got two brand new players here.
Some fresh faces.
Some fresh faces. We have Alex Rubin on Teamer Rhinos and John Johns on 5-Color Creativity.
Both these players are 3-0 too.
Yes. Well, we've had the pleasure of seeing a creativity deck on camera already today. We have not yet seen a Crashing Footfalls deck happen, and that's happening right now.
The Rhinos. And see, you have to suspend here, kind of the backup plan,
Right?
the plan B.
I was like, you're supposed to cast that unfairly, but Alex doing everything the right way. So we see Alex on 2 lands, John's fetching up, and we're just getting this game rolling.
I imagine there's going to be a tricolor land here, if I had to guess.
Nailed
it. Oh, man.
So good.
This is why I make the big bucks here in the booth.
I can see why they asked you to do commentary this weekend.
However, kudos to John for playing a regular triome and not a alternate art one. So Jetmer's Garden, I know what it is. We're good to go. That is the Naya Triland.
Very good. As John takes a look at options here, Alex is going to crack his fetch land, cracking that Scalding Tarn, gonna search up something here.
It's getting chilly in here. It's a little chilly, I think.
Oh,
is it a little chilly in here? I don't know. I'm just feeling a little bit of a chill, a little bit of breeze. Getting icy.
Oh goodness. I was waiting for it.
Yes,
waiting for it.
upkeep ice, tap your land on the play. It's honestly kind of a devastating play.
Yeah, I mean, but the 5-Color Creativity deck is already slow enough. Doesn't need any help.
It's true. That is very true.
Doesn't exactly get out the gates real quick. And we see a Shardless Agent here from Alex's side, taking a little looky-loo. What are we gonna find? What's gonna be in here? There's that. I mean,
could be anything.
So unlucky, hitting only 3 drops.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I thought he was extending the hand. I was like, well, I mean, that would have been real quick. But gonna take a look through at what was cascaded past here and making a couple of Rhinos.
Not too shabby. I got 10 power for 3 mana.
Say it's pretty all right. Pretty all right. Those 4/4s now out there on the battlefield. And don't forget, another Footfalls also waiting in the wings there. Only a couple turns away.
Some backup Rhinos. Things go wrong.
The backup Rhinos. Oh, we'll see it. John John's fetching up once again, cracking that Bloodstained Mire. Let's see what he's got for us. It's another triome.
Yeah, but Xander's Lounge. Side note, I'm pretty annoyed they didn't name the New Capenna lands
Xander's Triome.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Like Triome?
Logically, it's supposed to be like a cityscape and stuff.
I guess it should be like the actual name of the Cabaretti Triome, not the boss's name.
Yeah, I mean, even then, like a Triome's like a landscape sphere, and these are like buildings or whatever because it's New Capenna. But I don't know, it just feels weird. I mean, we say Triomes, we know it's Triome, it's Triome, but whatever.
Chat, you all know it's Triomes.
Yeah,
right?
Seriously.
We'll see. A Steam Vent's coming here untapped. Gonna go down to 18. So gotta watch our life total at this point with all those big threats there on the battlefield. Teferi going to come down. Just gonna try to stem the bleeding here. Gonna bounce a Rhino into oblivion, draw a card, and then hopefully draw off some damage here from Alex to kind of get that the attention away from John John's face.
Yeah, Teferi, best card of the matchup for sure. Obviously, it just turns off the Cascade mechanic by itself, and bouncing Rhinos is great. So, this is the floor for Teferi.
Right.
3 mana, kill a Rhino, draw a card, gain 2 life, which is pretty good.
Yes. As we see, Shardless Agent going to finish off the Teferi, but that Rhino is going to go face. So, John down to 12.
Now, it's pretty interesting to note that Alex has not 1, but 2 bounce spells in hand. Petty Theft from Brazen Borrower, as well as the Gone half of Dead Gone. So even if John is able to, produce some sort of big threat off of creativity, Alex can bounce it and kind of keep going. And we'll see what the threat is and how much damage it'll do when it ETBs. But
yes, and that is along with a land and a Bone Crusher Giant, which is some 2-for-1 fun there. Both a threat and a removal spell. Teferi coming down once again. Now, this could take care of the other Rhino and then draw a card and then just die to Shardless Agent again. but then there's more Rhinos.
Well, actually, no, because like we were saying, the Teferi turns off
Oh,
the
oh, stomp.
turns off Cascade, and it turns off the ability
Oh,
to cast a spell uh in your upkeep. You can't cast spells, you can't cast
oh, that's
sorcery. So
right.
it kills the suspend and the cascade part of the Rhinos. And once the fairy hits the battlefield, Alex cannot produce a way to remove it because it cannot cast spells anymore. So this is
Right.
a pretty backbreaking play from John
It
here.
it would be John's. It's not just on John's turn. It's
Yeah.
any time an instant can be cast or whatever. It cannot be cast
Right. I
anytime.
think that
It
has
only has
sorcery
sorcery
speed,
speed.
and you can't cast spell sorcery in your
Wow.
upkeep. So a little Rhino side here, destroying the Rhinos that are and the Rhinos that would be.
I mean, that Brazen Borrower, though, attacking in the air, like, this is still a clock.
Yeah, I mean, definitely for sure. Then Teferi can die here, Borrower can get in for a little bit, but those two Teferis took out 4 Rhinos, drawing a card both times
Yes.
and soaking up damage. So 2 cards
Wow.
drawn, 7 damage soaked up.
Yeah, and I mean, and Alex feels the need to attack Teferi with both of these creatures.
Yep.
And playing around any sort of extra removal spells, bolts, and things like that. We see a Dwarven Mine here.
So this is interesting. I mean, the both creatures are attacking Teferi, so blocking the obviously a bolt too. Oh wow. Oh, what a turn.
So able to bolt and then block the Shardless Agent. So Teferi's staying at 1.
So there was a dwarf there. It didn't actually end the battle, but a
Right.
dwarf came in, blocked the agent, and then the bolt killed the thingy, and that's
It was
very still
invisible.
alive. Yeah, and whew.
Invisible dwarf. So Alex feels the need, has to main phase stomp the Bone Crusher Giant, and it's just going to pass the turn, not going to cast the Bone Crusher to follow up. So we'll see what the next steps are here.
Pretty good hand for John here. You got multiple fables, multiple removal spells. And Alex, the Rhinos deck definitely does this thing well. Puts the Rhinos into play pretty consistently on turn 3 every game. But once you deal with the first wave, the first crash, if you will, you kind of gotta all right, gotta find another one. And then the Rhinos don't scale well as the game goes on. Once you get the later turns, 2/4 it's good, but it's not as backbreaking as it is on turn 3.
Yes. We'll see this Fable of the Mirror Breaker making a Goblin Shaman out onto the battlefield, playing an Arid Mesa, and then passing the turn back. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, super powerful card. Broke its way into Modern pretty quick. Just great card advantage. Able to loot. Perfect the hand. Perfect card for a deck like Creativity, making fodder for creativity in treasure tokens and goblin tokens. So
Yeah, but while most importantly, not being a creature itself, so
right.
kind of sneak in there. Yeah, I mean, creativity is the kind of card. Creativity, Fable is the kind of card that definitely missed by most people on the spoiler, and then it just keeps getting better. Oh, it's a really good standard card. Oh, this is actually a pretty good pioneer card. Oh, it's actually a pretty good modern card, and it just keeps going. Oh, yes, card's actually just really, really good.
Right, because 3 mana is a lot in Modern,
For
so
sure.
it's gotta pull its weight, and it seems to do just that. As Shardless Agent gets into the red zone here, offering up the trade with the Goblin Shaman. Now it's up to John. What does he think he's going to do? It looks like he will take that trade. At 11 life, Alex at 13. I guess it's all dependent on what exactly is in John's hand here.
Yeah, I mean, with this like copy of Fable, I guess we can if John wants to chill and just play another one, but.
So we see Bone Crusher Giant coming down. So most likely that Goblin Shaman not going to be able to attack profitably anyway.
Yeah, and the shot that the Bone Crusher was face up too, so
Yes.
makes sense.
Knew that was there, so decided to take the trade as he could get it. Going to fetch up another Triumph.
Well, that was actually a triumph.
That was actually a Triumph. And end of turn, anything else? It looks like there is. Leyline Binding comes into play, will not trigger the Bone Crusher Giant.
Yep, it is the ability targeting, not the spell targeting. So nice little interaction there for John.
Let's draw for turn. And looking to loot here. Let's see if John wants to clean up his hand a little bit or if he's happy with what he's got. It looks like 2 lands, perhaps, hitting the bin.
John's got a lot of cards. Yeah,
Gonna draw 2.
This is where you realize the effectiveness of the fairy exchanges earlier, right? It might not look like much of a time, but like that was +1 card both times. Now you can see we hit the mid game, and John's just flush with cards because of that. Now Alex did play the shock land untapped there, so could have Bow and Outburst, could have a force negation. So John needs to respect that, but isn't pretty firmly in the driver's seat here.
Yes, we can see the force negation in Alex's hand as he casts that. So the second Fable will not resolve. goes to exile, and another Dwarven Mine into play on the side of John. So, and then another follow up because I I heard you like Fable of Mirrorburger.
Yeah, why not? Keep them coming.
So making another Goblin Shaman token out on that battlefield, and Alex will draw a Brazen Borrower for turn.
The fun part here is that, this creativity, like the goal was obviously to creativity into an Archon of Cruelty, but with all the treasures and stuff, you just cast it. I mean, there's already 6 lands in play, treasures coming, a 7th land plus treasure can just cast the Archon, and there isn't really much recourse for Alex. Alex can bounce it, but
Right.
when you're just casting it, you just cast it again. And
Right.
the ETB trigger is really good too. So,
Yeah.
John, firmly in the driver's seat here.
And we see some attacks. Oh, wait, before attacks. I'm gonna bounce that Goblin Shaman token saying, I am going to deny you that treasure. So Petty Theft going to take care of that. Brazen Borrower out on an adventure for now. Still gonna get in for that one. So both players at 10 life at the moment. Going to play Stomping Ground tapped on John's side and pass the turn back. We did see the Archon of Cruelty in John's grip as well.
Yeah, so would have been able to cast it this turn, but denied, but then next turn looking pretty good as well.
Right. And then that's a bolt there to take care of the Brazen Borrower. And taking a look at the graveyard.
This is kind of what I was saying, where like, say Alex draws Charles Engineer and puts 2 Rhinos into play. It's not even good enough anymore.
Right.
Like it's not beating the Archon. And the Rhinos like is really, really good at doing the thing that it does. But the thing that it does is like, a 7.5 out of 10.
Right.
On turn 2 or 3, that's great. On turn 6 or 7 or 8, it's not as good. So
not gonna end the game.
Alex has some work to do here.
Right. And starting with a suspended Footfalls. It's it doesn't feel too great.
Maybe
Saying I hope this game lasts another 4 turns.
Yeah, maybe in a few turns,
It's pretty it's pretty optimistic. As we see the dwarf token getting in once again. So this dwarf doing work. Who needs Archon of Cruelty?
Yeah, so we see here that John could cast the Archon. I believe there's 2 black. It was actually not 2 black, I'm sorry. But has the end step, Kiki copying Kiki playing, and go for that, looks like.
Copy a million Kikis. And that is dead gone, I believe, on the side of Alex.
So this is gonna be, I would assume that what they're discussing right now is the fact that Alex is doing this on
the second main.
John's second main phase. But the issue is that the token can copy the next token. You sort of like keep the tokens around. You just keep copying.
Right.
So now the real one's dead as a copy in play, but it still allows this, end step, make a bunch of tokens thing to happen. It just needs to happen, in each phase. You get a copy something, copy something, copy something.
Right. So yeah, he's saying I'm going to make lots of tokens and you're going to be lots of dead.
Right. So there's enough mana there where a bunch of tokens can happen, but it's kind of a fun game state. It can happen sometimes where if you only have a few extra mana, you sort of like copy your fable, and then the copy keeps copying the copy. And you kind of like keep floating these fables,
Right.
kind of hanging out, but not necessary there because 7 goblins gets the job done.
Yes, that should do it. As we move on to game number 2 here, creativity taking down game number 1. And I'm telling you, we've watched a few games with this creativity deck. We haven't seen anybody actually cast creativity yet.
What's part of the draw, right? Is it like you're just playing all these really good cards? It's kind of the classic combo deck that's also a really good fair deck, which is usually a very good place to be.
So it looks like Alex pulling to the front some Furies here and other things to take out. Was looking at Blood Moons in the sideboard. What do you think? What direction is this team of Rhinos deck going to go in here? Do they want to go faster? Are they going to try to like control things more?
I think going faster is definitely a thing. I think that Blood Moon's also probably a pretty good idea. You want to just not get to the spot that game got to, basically, where it's turn 8 or 9 and like the Rhinos don't even look good anymore, so I think Alex is definitely the beatdown deck here. So you cut in their removal spells, cut some Bone Crushers. This removal's not really super needed, though Dead Gone does bounce an Archon. I mean, it's still not that good because Archon, trigger slow goes up, lots of stuff happens. Mystical Disputer looking pretty nice as far as low interaction goes. Countering Teferi is going to be huge. It's a really big one. We saw Teferi just actually soloed that game.
Yes.
It'd be easy to look at that game and be like, oh, was Teferi mattered this game, whatever. But like that turn 3 about turn 4 completely stopped everything Alex was doing and gave John not only infinite time, but a bunch of resources too. So really good exchanges on tempo and cards. Huge.
Yeah, you forget how good Teferi is playing a lot of like historic lately, and then things where they kind of nerf it.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's
and then we're back to modern, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm getting passive punked left and right
yeah.
here.
And Teferi is
So
pretty good actually. Wow. So
I forgot how good this card
yeah.
is.
So definitely the most important card in the matchup for sure. And if you're a Rhinos player, that's definitely your enemy number one.
So that's what John wants to see in his hand here. He just wants like 3 lands, like 4 Teferis, or
I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing is, this now a dispute's in play. And dispute is definitely the clutch answer to Teferi, 1 mana counter it, which is great. And the blood modes are good too. So I think that Alex definitely picked some game up here, which is obviously very very good for Alex because now you can battle back against these tough cards.
Right, and it looks like both players taking a mulligan here. John 5 lands, a persist, and a fable, not quite cutting it. And Alex very unhappy with his opener too. Which one of these 2 decks mulligans better?
I think in this spot Alex is favored because again, the early game belongs to Alex. Get those Rhinos in play, counter to Teferi, get the Rhinos in play, and you have to have 10 power, and you win the game in 2 turns.
Right.
As we saw, that game. Those Rhinos came down. That board was scary.
Yes.
Later in the game, not as scary. So I think these mulligans favor Alex. All he really needs is a couple lands and a Charlotte's Agent to get the job done.
Right,
Whereas John's got all these colored lands and all this crazy stuff going on.
So it looks like they're both happy with their 6s. John looking like going to ship back a lightning bolt, keeping some counter magic in hand. And we're ready to start off game number 2 here. Alex is going to kick us off with a Misty Rainforest. And we'll see if what kind of follow up is here.
Again, now we're going slow Rhinos
Are
again
we
here. I think.
Are we
Yep.
suspending?
Yeah. Which honestly is going to be a little
Low and
better,
slow?
than post-board games.
I like
it. The standard Magic procedure is that games slow down in game 2 and 3 because both players have the right amount of interaction. So definitely, a little better than it would have been in game 1. We also see the fetch from Forest here, which is sort of like a hey, Blood Moon might be a thing in this match, kind of nod too.
We see that. Will John take the warning? How many basics could 5-color creativity really play?
Probably only a mountain. Honestly, I think that they occasionally will board an off mountain basic because you don't want to play any lands that aren't mountains for your Dwarven Mines.
Right.
So it's definitely a pretty high cost there. But gonna go for an end step fetch here. Probably gonna try them. So.
Right. And on John's just like looking at this like, oh no, basic forest into basic island.
Yep.
Know what's coming. I know what's coming. Can you stop it? Is the question.
Now the big one here is Leyline Binding.
Right.
So once a few tap lands are in play, as long as there's 1 white mana up at any given time, you can float the white, let the Blood Moon resolve, and then just hit the Blood Moon that way too. So it does have, I'm sure it's 4 bindings of a deck. A lot of good answers in that regard.
It doesn't count as I have to still have X amount of basic land types in play.
Oh, you're right. Oh, good catch. Actually, you're correct.
Right. It resets.
Forget everything I just said.
It resets everything. Right. So that's but we know that John does have some counter magic in hand. At the very least. Oh, and there's Teferi. There is I believe a Flusterstorm in hand.
Also got the 1 basic mountain.
And the 1 basic
ready to battle
mountain.
Blood Moon.
Right? With the basic mountain.
Yep. Gotcha.
I'm about to have more basic mountains, that's all.
Yep.
But leaving the counter magic up here, there is a mystical dispute on the side of Alex, but no 3rd land.
But you can see it's actually a good game where now the suspended Rhinos looks pretty good actually because both players are kind of just sitting, chilling back a little bit. Both players have reactive cards in their hand: Flusterstorm, Blood Moon, Mystical Dispute.
Right.
So these Rhinos are probably going to hit.
Right. And we know that Alex holding up that mystical dispute for John Teferi. John deciding I'm not going to jam my Teferi on 3 into 2 open mana with my opponent missing their 3rd land drop.
For sure.
So looks like fetching up here, even though both players did mulligan.
Yeah, the important thing here is that John has a Flusterstorm in hand also. So right. John's now going to set up a Teferi plus Flusterstorm here, which is going to win this battle, and then once again deny the Rhinos coming into play.
Right. We'll see as John untaps and draws a card for turn. We'll see, like you said, they have that untapped mountain in hand. So able to play out a 4th untapped mana source here. Very important to be able to hold up that counter magic.
All right, here we go.
There's Teferi. Let's open the floodgates here.
Yeah, you can see Alex, not slamming the dispute here, kind of pausing. There is no other play, but he has to dispute. But Alex recognizes this is probably a setup.
Yeah, but needs to do it either way. Lounge getting tapped for blue and says, yep, nod of the head.
I believe it's a Spell Pierce.
Yes.
Same idea. However, Now, I'm sorry, now the Teferi can plus, and now the Blood Moon is no longer effective either because if Blood Moon comes down, Teferi can send it back or whatever. So
Right. So,
did
Teferi,
Teferi
and we're going.
did Teferi not do anything?
No, Teferi plus.
No, Teferi starts on
Oh,
4.
Teferi does start on 4. Oh, maybe
Still effective.
it's weird because I thought he had it on 3. I don't know. Maybe he. Yeah, I
Yeah, because
guess.
it's a minus
Yeah,
3, I
it
believe.
is.
So
It is
now,
-3. That
so
would bring him down to 1.
yeah,
Yep. No, it should be on 5. Or well, if he didn't do anything, then it's not on anything.
and
So
news for you folks, Teferi's still good.
yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Teferi can literally be in as the passive, and
yep.
that is all it needs to do in this matchup. But Petty Theft's going to bounce it back to hand. Still no third land from Alex's side. So John can just replay Teferi here and not have to worry about it having it countered, really. So
Yep.
that's back in, and it's still on 4, and he's just going to pass again.
Only scary I thought there would be force negation, but didn't have it last turn.
Right.
So
Think you would have seen that one if it had happened. We'll see. Ice down that land.
main phase ice.
Main phase on my turn.
Trying to
Right?
gonna put this game on ice.
Oh my goodness. So we'll see. Tapping it down and drawing a card. And still no land. Keeps missing that land drop on the side of Alex. Got to feel really bad here.
Yeah, I think John was just vibing. Hey, last turn I didn't plus, and Alex didn't draw a land. This turn I'm not going to plus, and Alex not going to draw a land.
Right?
You know, works good. Keep the consistency
It's a
going.
deal.
There's a plus though. So
There's a plus.
now Alex is going to draw a land now. So I don't know. It
Right.
might have been a mistake actually.
I'm pretty sure that's what happens here. Pretty sure it's a deal with the devil. Nope, we got a foursome negation
Oh boy.
on the side of Alex. So gonna have to try to run out another ice again. So tapping your Xander's Lounge once again and
boy.
draw. And it looks
Ugh.
like the draw was a shardless agent and not a land. So
The only good news here for Alex is that there's no discard to hand size.
yeah, double discarding Archon of Cruelty.
Oh boy.
That's got to be so scary.
Yeah, there.
Goblin Shaman getting in 2 damage. Alex down to 17. Let's see what John has to follow up here. I see Indomitable Creativity in hand.
That's pretty good. Persist is pretty. Oh my god.
Oh my GOSH.
So Alex is up. So I say Alex's only chance here is that maybe there's maybe out of Archons he boarded a few out maybe, but no, there's Archon.
Yeah,
and,
doesn't look like it.
yeah, I mean obviously super rough game for Alex. The hand looked pretty good honestly. Dispute, Blood Moon, couple basics, but just couldn't find the third land.
Right, not being able to find that third land, that third color. Red's super important here. Can't do anything about it. So we'll see. And it looks like a mystical dispute. And Alex said, I've had enough. So looks like Rhinos falling to 5 color creativity here in round number 4. John's and 5 color creativity moving up to 4-0 on the day. Alex still at a very